Is there anything that you'd add to the how to get rich thread? Is there anything where you thought, like, just one, if I could go in and edit and add one more in, or
there's like 10,000 things. I could talk about that topic forever, to be honest. Like that thread was so short and it was so limited and it was so crafted in a sense, although I wrote it very spontaneously. It left so much on the cutting room floor that I could just talk about that topic for days. But it's all contextual. Right? Business is very, very, very contextual. Like you have to look at the particular business and understand what's being done and why it's being done and how it's being done. And then you can tear it apart or you can and then reassemble it properly. And I like to think that is actually where I have specific knowledge and expertise. My specific knowledge and expertise is not in happiness and not in philosophy. Yes, my life is very hacked to be very unique, but I don't think that's where my specific knowledge is. My specific knowledge is in being able to analyze a business, especially a technology business, and take it apart at the seams and predict in advance what is likely to work and what is not likely to work, Clubhouse notwithstanding. Because you're still going to be wrong most of the time. It's like playing the lottery, but you know one or two of the tickets numbers in advance. You only have to be right a few times or even just once to get the big score. Peter Thiel started PayPal, but he made all his money on Facebook, right? And now he's done more since then, obviously, but that was the big winner. And that's true in any power law distribution. Number one is going to return more than 2 through n put together. 2 will return more than 3 through n put together. You're operating in a highly leveraged intellectual domain, so the outcomes are going to be nonlinear. I know a lot about that topic, but it's highly contextual. It makes a lot more sense if there's a specific business in front of me, a specific entrepreneur, and I can take that apart. And I can say, so there are certain companies where I'll say, oh, this is not going to work because you, the entrepreneur, are doing this for the wrong reasons. You're doing A so you can get to B, just go to B. Or you're doing this to make money when really the person who's doing this because they love the product is going to beat you. Or you're raising money from the wrong people who are in it for the wrong reasons. Or your co-founder is not in it for the right reasons. Or you don't have the right kind of co-founder. Or your vesting schedule is wrong. Or you're starting the business in the wrong place. Or you're approaching it from this angle instead of that angle. And of course, I'll be wrong too. But I've just seen a lot of data. I have my theories around it. And that's where I feel very comfortable operating. The problem is when I have to talk about how to create wealth, and How to Get Rich is a clickbait title, deliberately. But when I talk about how to create wealth, talking about it in the abstract is very difficult because then you just want to speak truth. You have to just say the timeless stuff. You have to be right in almost every context. And so it really limits what you can say.
The lack of specificity makes it,
correct. It's back to philosophy. But when I can get specific about it, that's when the real knowledge
you could be like a wealth counselor for people.
Yeah, part of the reason why I started doing podcasts, and this is ego at play, so I'll admit it freely. When I was tweeting, I kind of pioneered philosophy Twitter, if you will, or a certain kind of practical philosophy Twitter, where in 140 characters, I would try to say something true in an interesting way that was insightful to me at the time. But then that got copied. There's thousands of us now, right? Thousands of people spitting it out, ChatGPT, trying to create these things all day long. Although I like to think that my stuff is incompressible. I'm saying it in the tightest way possible, which is kind of a little failed poetry background. But what I realized was if you truly have a deep understanding of something, then you can talk about it all day long. Then you can rederive everything you need from that understanding, no memorization required. You can get to it from first principles. And every piece of what you know is like it's like a Lego block that just fits in and forms a steel frame. It's solid. It's locked in there. And so on a podcast, I can unload much more deeply about some of these topics. So, for example, we can talk about any business you like, but it has to be in context. It has to be real. It has to be an actual problem. Then we can solve it.
I just really love that heuristic of if you're having to memorize something, it's because you don't understand it.
You don't understand it. That's right. If you have to memorize something, it's because you don't understand it. And if you understand something, you don't have to memorize it.
Yeah. Again, just to sort of call out a lot of what I tried to do, this redemption arc thing of if I sound smart, that's like being smart, right?
Well, ChatGPT has memorized the entire internet. Good luck competing with that. You're not going to beat it on memorization. You're not even going to beat a library of memorization. You're not going to beat any 10 books on memorization. So memorization is not the thing.
The value of memorization is going down by the day.
It's already so low. understanding is the thing. Judgment is the thing. Taste is the thing. And understanding, judgment, taste, these come out of having real problems and then solving them and then finding the commonalities. What is philosophy? Everyone, you live long enough, you'll be a philosopher. Philosophy is just when you find the hidden generalizable truths among the specific experiences that you've had in life. And then you know how to navigate future specific experiences based on some heuristics, and you create a philosophy around that. Any subject pursued deeply enough will eventually lead to philosophy. Mastery in anything, literally anything, will lead you to being a philosopher. You just have to stick with it long enough and generalize the truths back out. And these are universal truths. It's back to the unity and variety. You can find unity in anything if you go deep enough.
And that's why the trite stuff, unfortunately, sort of keeps coming back around. You're like, well, look, this is cliche for kind of a reason.
It's cliche for reasons. But, sometimes you learn new things. Sometimes you do figure out new things, too. Even in philosophy. For example, science has advanced. As science has advanced, it's actually expanded our boundaries of philosophy. When we used to think that, the Earth was the center of the universe, you would actually have a different philosophical outlook than when you think the universe is vast and we're infinitesimally small. It will give you a different philosophical outlook. The same way, if you think that the nature is driven by angels and demons and gods versus if there are laws of physics that are computable and understandable, that will lead you to a different philosophical outlook. If you think that knowledge is something that is passed down from above and through generations versus something that is created on the fly and then tested against reality, that will lead you to a different philosophical outlook. If you think humans are created by God as opposed to humans evolved from some, unicellular organism, it still doesn't solve the original problem of who created that, but at least it takes you further back.
Kick the can down the road.
Even sim theory is an attempt at reformulating philosophy based on what we know about computers, even though it kind of leads to a lot of the same conclusions as, creator. But it is at least philosophy that is informed by technology and by science. So philosophy can also evolve. Moral philosophy evolves, right? There was a time when every culture practically that was a conquering culture practiced slavery. Now almost all cultures abhor slavery. That's moral philosophy having evolved. There was even this sounds too ludicrous to be true, and I don't know if it fully is true, but there were a fairly large group of doctors based on studies who believed until the 1980s that babies couldn't feel pain. And so even to this day, I think circumcision is done without anesthesia. And because under the theory that, very young children, babies don't feel pain. And that's ludicrous. And there was a study that came out in the 80s that said, no, they do feel pain. It's like, oh yeah, of course, right? So people can be stuck in bad philosophical traps for a long period of time. So even philosophy can make progress. And as an example, one of the realizations that I had, and this is thanks to David Deutsch and my friend James Pierce, and also thinking it through a little bit, is that there are these timeless old questions that we run into where the answers seem like paradoxes, so we stop thinking about them. So an example is free will. Do you have free will? Or does anything matter? Is there a meaning to life? And we get stuck in them because, for example, is there a meaning to life? Like, yes, life has a meaning because you're right here. You create your own meaning. This moment has all the meaning you could imagine. It's all the meaning there is. On the other hand, you're going to die. It all goes to zero. Heat, death, the universe has no meaning, right? So which one is it? Well, the reason why it seems paradoxical is because you're asking the question of a human here and now at a certain scale and a certain time. And then you're answering it from the viewpoint of the universe over infinite time. So you pulled a trick. You switched the level at which you're answering the question. And questions should be answered at the level at which they're asked. So if you ask the question, is there meaning? You, Chris, are asking that question. Yes, to Chris, there is meaning. There's meaning right here. This is the meaning. You can interpret any meaning you want onto it. Don't ask the question as Chris and then answer it as God or as the universe. That's the trick that you're playing. That's why it seems paradoxical. The same way you can say, do I have free will? People debate free will all day long. The question is answered at the wrong frame. So they ask the question is, do I as an individual have free will? Hell yeah, I have free will. My mind-body system can't predict what I'm going to do next. The universe is infinitely complex. I'm making a choice in my mind and I'm doing something. There's my free will. So answer at the level at which you were asked. Of course I have free will because I feel like I have free will and I treat you like you have free will and you treat me like I have free will. We have free will. The problem then is you start trying to answer the question as if you're the universe. You're like, well, on the universal scale, Big Bang, particle collisions, no one makes any choices. How could you be any different than what the universe wants you to be? And it's all one block universe, so you don't have free will. don't answer the question at the level at which it wasn't asked. So if God asked the question, is there free will? No, there is no free will. If the universe asked the question, there is no free will. But if an individual asks the question right now, then yes, there is free will. So a lot of these paradoxes resolve themselves, philosophical paradoxes that people have been struggling with since the beginning of time, when you just realize you're answering them at a scale and time different than they were asked.
If you struggle to stay asleep because your body gets too hot or too cold, this is going to help. Just add an 8 Sleep Pod 4 Ultra to your mattress like a fitted sheet, and it will automatically cool down or warm up each side of your bed up to 20 degrees. It's got integrated sensors that track your sleep time, your sleep phases, your HRV, your snoring, and your heart rate with 99% accuracy. And it even starts cooling or heating your bed an hour before you get into it. That is why 8 Sleep has been clinically proven to increase total sleep up to 1 hour every night. Best of all, they've got a 30-day sleep trial, so you can buy it and sleep on it for 29 nights, and if you don't like it, they will give you your money back. Plus, they ship internationally. Right now, you can get $350 off the Pod 4 Ultra by going to the link in the description below or heading to 8sleep.com/modernwisdom and using the code modernwisdom at checkout. That's EIGHT sleep.com/modernwisdom and modernwisdom at checkout. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you enjoyed that clip with Naval, just a mere taster, the full-length episode is available right here. Go on. Watch it.